just for some context of what we've got on. Last week we started with a Defenders Masterclass. This one now on midfielders will be great. I'm sure Nahuel is a high level player as a midfielder, and then also recently been coaching both for the Midfielders and then with the Central Coast Mariners as an assistant coach. So a really good insight. So Nahuel, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
No problems. Thank you for having me. You know, it's a way of life over there. It's you can't explain it until you actually live it and breathe it. So very different.
Yeah, and outside of what you're doing there, so when we look at as a youth, so state teams and NSW and train on for the Joeys, Australian schoolboys, what were you doing outside of that, the sort of formal football bit to develop yourself as a player?
I've always been, and even to now, always big on doing your own. Ultimately, football it's a team sport, but it's a lonely road. It's you and just the close people around you that will actually understand what it takes and the sacrifice you've got to make. So for me, it was always, you know, I was very well aware of, you know, give you an idea, in the 17 squad had players like Jason Chelina, Brashana, you know, who went around to being world-class players. And, you know, for me, I've always had to work hard. And you know, like that's one thing that when you want to get to the top, it's not about so much, because everyone does the 3 sessions a week. Everyone does nowadays all the smarter buzz and all that type of stuff, and you know, to tick all those boxes. But what are you prepared to do extra? And that was a mentality, you know, that I had approached. And whether it was back in the day, go for runs or go down the park and just practice shooting with my brother and one-on-ones, and you know, we were fortunate enough to have a group of friends that were close by and you know, get together in school holidays. I can remember just playing out on, you know, going to the local park in Mount Pritchard at Joe Broad and spending the whole day just whatever it was, you know, 2v2, 3v3, just shooting, practicing. So just the love of the ball, and then just being around the ball, even at home with my brother, and soccer, tennis, whatever it may be. So it was the first thing I thought of when I woke up, and the last thing I thought of, you know, before I went to bed, just, you know, trying to get better. But yeah, that's basically doing those little extras. Because the game's getting quicker, obviously the top players, it doesn't matter what era, and you saw a couple of them there before, they're able to make decisions at that next level. You know, they're making decisions a lot quicker. They're able to dictate the tempo of the game, that we're able to, you know, to see that next pass. And not necessarily some of these guys that, you know, obviously in here weren't the quickest or things, but they would just have the ability to, and the awareness to see that next pass, or being able to, you know, control things around them. So they had something that, like a weapon that would make them different, and that won't change. But all these things, like I mentioned before, obviously, you know, now you young boys there's more coaches going through the coaching system, so you got the opportunity and you got more access to information from overseas and coaches. So again, growing up, coaching was a little bit more parents and people just put you there and you had to think for yourself. Whereas now you've got the opportunity through the analysis component and things like that, video, that you're able to actually get good feedback to help you improve, and you can actually visually see it, as opposed to previously the coach going, oh, you're not playing well. Okay, well, what does that mean? I think we're coaches are as well getting educated a lot more to try and show that, and the access to video and so forth. The physical component, we just have to look at data for example, midfield players, to give you an idea, clocking anywhere between, in the A-League, anywhere between 10 to 12 kilometers a game. Obviously the high speed meters, which is the speed, which is over 19 kilometers per hour. Most players in that middle of the park are doing about 6 to 900, depends on the type of game, meters. So that's 6 to 900 meters running at above 19 kilometers per hour. And that's what we classified as high speed meters. But the big one for me is the distraction that you guys have at the moment. Being able, obviously concentrated, and I see when young boys, this age, sitting down and watching a game, they're most probably on their mobile phone, or they don't on iPads or things that distract them. To actually be able to analyze the game, I think that's another key component to help you become. So growing up, when we watched games, you're watching and talking to your dad, to your uncle, or whatever, and actually watching the game and analysing what the role of, the example, Maradona was and what he was doing. So you're continuously analysing and making, opinions about what he's doing good or what he could improve. Whereas now, because of distractions, and you might have your iPhone, you might have an iPad, you're not actually watching the game. So that's something that I highly recommend for young boys to do.
Yeah, brilliant. And as I go across here to the attacking midfielders, if we just go with scanning for a sec, because like you say, it is so important. And there's quite a bit of evidence coming out that even like at the elite level, it shows that the top players do scan more. I guess one of the things we hear a lot is you get coaches or players telling people to scan, but what is it that we should be looking for? So defensively, you mentioned blocking passing lanes. When your team's in possession, what's some of the detail around, so it's not, we know it's not just a case of just looking around you. What should the players be looking for? What are some of the cues or triggers that they might be picking up when they're scanning that might help them?
Yeah, look, I use it with a lot of players. I always say, where am I? Where's the player? Where's the ball? So you're constantly reminding yourself where you are, okay? Where am I situated? Where are the players, whatever it may be? If I'm blocking a passing lane, for example, where's the player and where's the ball? Obviously, you've got to be in relation to those three. So if you can remember that, obviously, that's something that I used and personally, and something that I try to pass on just to simplify, sort of reminding you to do it. So where am I? Where's the player? Where's the ball? So you're constantly thinking of those three things. That will enhance your awareness on the pitch. That will give you the ability to identify where you are in relation to the three main components of the game. Yourself, the ball, and your opponent. So your ability to do that, and like you said, the top players are able to do that at another level. That's why you go, oh my goodness, how much time? And I think we'll talk about him later, but the likes of Pedri, who's only a couple of years older than some of the boys tonight, his awareness through continuously being able to identify where the space is, where the players are around him. He purposely gets himself into areas that he can affect 2 or 3 or 4 players at a time. But if he loses it, he's able to quickly react as well.